recap. We'll do that later if we have time, if not for overtime. But let's talk a little NFL draft because the NFL draft is right around the corner. Dane Brugler was supposed to join us today from The Athletic. Unfortunately, he has strep throat, and that is not a great time for a draft expert like Dane Brugler to get strep throat, so we're wishing Dane a speedy recovery. But we're still going to do a little mock draft Monday here. I accompanied and compiled. Accompanied made no sense. I don't know what the hell that was. I compiled some of the best 2-round mock drafts from around the interweb and came to a bit of a consensus here that is very different than what I expected it to be a few weeks ago. So I went through and I found 6 different 2-round mock drafts because the Browns obviously don't pick till number 54. And a few weeks ago, we all thought offense was the pick, right? A receiver, maybe a running back, a tight end. Steve, let's take this full here. That's not necessarily the case anymore. Dane Brugler, in his latest 7-round mock draft, had the Browns taking Mason Smith, the defensive tackle out of LSU. Ryan Wilson, CBS #1 draft guru, also had the Browns taking Mason Smith. PFF had Chris Jenkins, the Michigan defensive tackle, going to the Browns at 54. Chad Reuter of NFL.com had the Browns taking Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker out of Texas A&M. And Walter Football had them taking Jonah Ellis out of Utah, who I'll be completely honest, I've never heard of in my life. That could be a fake name, but I did Google to check. It is real. So those were 5 players that people who are in the know, or at least are more knowledgeable on these situations than I, thought could be the pick for the Browns at 54. After I made that list, Steve Take Tagboard full, Zach Jackson, who joined us in studio last week, did his mock draft, and he had the Browns taking the receiver out of Oregon, Troy Franklin, at 54. So there's the offensive pick. We thought it was offense for a couple weeks, even months leading up to this point. It is now Monday of draft week. Do you think defense is actually the way Andrew Berry and the team goes, or are you still sticking to your guns that an offensive player will be the Browns' first selection at 54?
I'm insisting it's going to be a wide receiver.
I think it's going to be a defensive player.
Now, I will say this. It looks like a lot of guys are following the breadcrumbs that general managers are so good at dropping before the draft. The fact that so many of these reporters have pivoted from wide receiver to defensive tackle or defensive line tells me that they're talking to people within the organization, and people within the organization that are talking to these people are appropriately misdirecting them.
Yep.
I will say this. There is almost no significant advantage to be gained at this point by dropping fake breadcrumbs, but you do it out of habit. You just figure that when the last down is played of the season, as a general manager, you say, okay, on this day, I turn into Pinocchio.
Yep.
And I don't tell the truth until the day after the draft. And that's just the way it is. And I think that they have to take a wide receiver. In your vein of Operation Stockpile, last year, they stockpiled the defensive front.
Yep.
Check. Good. Myles Garrett is there. Myles Garrett is a better pass rusher than any wide receiver we have. And because of that, that still is your area of need. And they can't draft a receiver in the 3rd round because they end up pumping gas after 2 years. So I just think the higher you move up the board, the more likelihood you are to hit at any given position. I will throw this into the mix. I wouldn't even rule out the Browns moving up, and I know that's not what they do. But if they think that there's a receiver that's there at 44 but won't be there at 54, and they think that that's the guy that fits their system and that's the need that they have, I wouldn't put it past them packaging a couple of later round picks to go up 10 to get the player that they think won't be there at 54.
It's funny you say that because, Mike got me on this whole NFL.com mock draft simulator that I have not been able to put down.
It is so fun.
Oh, it's quick.
And like every single mock draft, if they get a wide receiver, I think they're going to have to trade up because it's almost like 6 to 10 wide receivers is coming off the board before the Browns get there at 54. Now if they stand packed at 54, I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver.
Well,
because this is why.
And you might be right, by the way. If they don't think they've got somebody that is a difference maker at 54,
right.
they might go to another position.
I know we've been screaming like JG, we've been screaming wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. But the truth of the matter is that rookie wide receiver is not going to have an impact on this year's team, no matter what. And even if whoever the wide receiver is good enough to kind of jump Cedric Tillman or David Bell on the depth chart, I still don't think like they're going to play significant amount of time unless somebody get hurt, or they're going to have a significant impact. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at this roster, it's ready-made. Andrew Berry just talked about bringing rookies in here for them to have little to no impact immediately. If anything, you groom those guys to be starters or significant role players 2 or 3 seasons down the line. The reason why I think the pick is going to be on the defensive side of the ball is because I think when you talk about Andrew Berry going about this best player available, I think all the best players available will be either on the defensive line or linebacker. I know a lot of the mock drafts I keep coming up with the linebacker from Alabama being available for the Browns at 54. Now, linebacker is not a big part of the Cleveland Browns defensive scheme, but it's also a position to where you really don't have a lot of depth there. And so if you can get a young guy that's athletic that you can groom and to have him as that role player, maybe a season or 2 seasons from now, you do that. Because think about it. A guy like Jacob Phillips that they drafted to play a significant role never really did anything here, right? And so we talk about the guy that's being mocked to the Browns right now at 54, the Mason Smith kid, right? I instantly thought, okay, well, you drafted Perrion Winfrey a couple years ago. That didn't work out. So maybe this is you trying to do that again. I just think
on the Alabama linebacker edge, Mac Wilson didn't work out either.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, if you guys don't know, I'll tell you what you should
Please
be
tell
doing.
me what's going to happen.
What are we taking?
Man, listen, first and foremost, there is no other choice that you should be taking Andrew Berry other than a wide receiver. Namely because Amari Cooper, guess what? You don't know what he's doing next year. You might pay him, you might not. Elijah Moore, you might pay him, you might not. Chances are you might not. David Bell is a guy, and your boy Cedric Tillman is a guy until proven otherwise. I can't keep coming in here talking about his body is big. Super pause. But I can't just keep coming here talking about Cedric Tillman. These prospects, Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Xavier Legette, and Ricky Pearsall are better than Elijah Moore right now, today.
Wow.
Today. Keon Coleman, this dude is 6'5".
Say that again. Go.
These guys are better than Elijah Moore today. Xavier Legette better than him today, right now. Now, my thing is this. When I watched Elijah Moore play last year, he was not a difference maker, was he?
No, he was not.
They tried to make him the second coming of Percy Harvin. We're gonna give him reverses. We're gonna do all. No.
Tyvis was the leader of that gang.
No, he was serviceable. They probably are not going to bring him back. But you telling me Troy Franklin and Xavier Legette can't play today? Sure they will. And by the way, you heard what Kevin Stefanski said. He said we're gonna be aggressive and in a big way. 640 yards and they play 100 games. They play 86 games like the NBA, and he got 640 yards. No disrespect, so when my thing is, I'm looking at these receivers, and it's one of the best receiver classes of all time. You are going to get somebody to fall to you in the second round, and let's talk about these picks that's minimal ski.
What about Jerry Rice's kid?
I'll take him too.
His stock is risen.
I like him, but you said they got a third, a fifth, they got a couple of fives, right?
Yeah, I could see them moving a couple 5s or a 5 and a 6.
Hey, they could. You know what? I'm hyperbole. I'm the Duke of New York. They can have every one of them 5th and 6th round picks. All of them. You want them? Take them. You get the 2 5s, the 2 6. This is this. You gonna get a T-shirt.
So you're talking about moving up into the first round if you give that. If you give up 4 picks.
Hey, listen. Them picks. I will agree with Earl said. Them picks that he had, they ain't making a team. This defensive tackle, we drafted Siaki Ika. Why are we going to take another defensive tackle? Are we assuming he can't play?
No, you're right.
We just took another defense. So I'm going to get up and get a D tackle to sit him behind Siaki Ika. No, I need somebody that's going to be able to get downfield, catch the football, and be part of this Deshaun Watson passing attack with Dorsey.
I just think that's a bold take, man, to say that them dudes right now is better than Elijah Moore. Listen, I get it. Elijah Moore didn't live up to the potential last season.
Or the year before.
Okay, so what about the Jets game? What about the Jets game? He looked good he looked good out there.
Everybody looked good the Jets game.
He looked good out there.
They had the other team talk about the atmosphere. They said
the first
Hey, listen.
Quarter of the Jets
I was spooked
was the
out.
best quarter
I'm
of the Browns
sorry.
offense we've ever seen.
I'm buying Elijah Moore stock. I'm with Tyvis. I'm buying more Elijah Moore
You're
stock.
buying more?
I gotta buy some
More?
more. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm being a homer. Whatever the case may be. I just don't believe that year 2 playing under like the Kevin Stefanski system. That granted that's about to change with Ken Dorsey, but just year 2 in this organization, man, in this system with this team, I just think it'll be a better season for him. Typically, when we see wide receivers change teams, that first year on that new team for that wide receiver is typically a struggle. Like if you just go back and watch the wide receivers that's changed team
what about
over
when
the
he
last
was
couple
paired
years.
up with his old quarterback in New York? I thought,
That don't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
That don't
Didn't
matter.
matter.
That don't matter.
I thought they'd have chemistry.
I think he's going to have a better season, and I think a lot of his attitude, his mindset, like all of that is in the right place, right? Even with the season not going the way that we thought or he thought last year,
he was still more mature.
He was still more
about it.
mature. He never really like he was locked in on this thing being about the entire team. And I think if he keeps that mentality, I think this year will be better for him. Think about David Njoku, right? David talked about how he used to go into seasons, like, you know what I'm saying, trying to make the Pro Bowl, like trying to check off all of these. And once that mindset changed and it just locked on, okay, about let's get the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs, he had a career year. And I just think that Elijah Moore is going to have a much better season.
I hope you're right, man.
And he better grow 3-4 inches too.
He's not going to do that.
Because here's the thing. I think he gets one more year.
he might get. They draft a receiver. He's gonna get half a year.
Because here's the reality, right? Judy already got the contract extension. I think we can all agree, Elijah Moore and Cooper are both not getting new deals.
No,
I don't see how they can.
And
so how you feel about it?
Okay,
like, that hurt his heart.
All right, so if Elijah Moore comes out here and balls out, right? Amari Cooper is approaching 30 years old.
Sure.
Are you not going to give?
Whoa! Now that's the take. That's the one you clip.
Are you not?
Earl the Pearl has Elijah Moore.
Oh no, I didn't say that.
No, it was an if.
I didn't say that.
But you know what I always say to if?
If was a fifth.
No, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike.
So that's the question I'm getting to.
That's a big leap.
Are you saying that you're gonna just let him walk in free agency? Like if you had to choose between, okay, if Elijah Moore balls out this year, right?
And
they both free agents.
What is that? Balls out.
Yeah, what is that? What is that number?
What he got? 640 last year.
I need double that.
Okay, if he go, he ain't going for 12.
12?
He not going for 12, Jay.
Listen, that's balling out.
If he go 8, let's say if he go 200 yards more than that and he scores 3 more touchdowns.
He's got 17 games to get 1,200 yards.
You said he'd get 1,000.
I'm saying let's go.
1,000 is not balling out anymore.
Let's go.
1,100. 1,100.
Okay, that's a difference maker.
Oh, you gonna give me the DPJ numbers? You said I heard 8.
I say 900. 850, 900 yards.
That's not balling out.
It's not
It's not balling out. You're gonna show the door to Amari Cooper.
I'm not showing the door to Amari Cooper. What I'm just saying is Elijah Moore is young. If he goes for like 900 yards and he scores a couple more touchdowns, I just don't see Andrew Berry letting him walk. I don't.
Now look, Earl like Project Stockpile. I don't know. They might restructure some people. They may bring them back. I don't know what kind of stockpile. I didn't get that memo, but
Look, I get the age thing is more attractive, but I need production.
Yeah,
I don't need DPJ on his best year production.
And I'm not saying I'm letting Amari Cooper walk. All I'm saying is all things equal, and you know Amari is approaching that age threshold to where you possibly have to move on, and Elijah Moore turns out to have a pretty good year. Are you still letting him walk?
Well, you know what? It all depends on what Amari Cooper does. Does he stay healthy? Does he have even close to the kind of year he had last year? If he does, I'm not ready to turn the page on that.
If he got the numbers you talking about, Deshaun Watson must have threw for that 5,000.
So you bringing them both back then?
Who?
Amari and Elijah Moore. If they both have good years, are you bringing them both back?
Yeah, they both have great years. Not good years, great years.
You got to ask Deshaun too, because he got to get some.
I like what
back.
Jay did. If they have great years,
yeah, not good years.
Hey,
Yes.
now listen,
Great. I want great.
Deshaun's going to have to restructure then if they want to bring both of them back.
Well, and I imagine that's on the table.
Yeah.
And G, not just those two, but Nick Chubb too potentially, which is who we're going to talk about in a quick second.